Welcome to the February the 27th, 1996 taping of It Happened in Grand Prairie, as we bring you the history of our city and also bring you people that are continuing to make history in our city, and that is the case today. This is our history tape number 271, and it's with very much excitement that we bring to you as we continue the celebration of Black History Month on our show, a very special young man. And today we had dedicated this day to some of the Black ministers that serve the Dalworth community and the city of Grand Prairie. And would you believe that we have singly one young man that's going to carry the load for all of us in Grand Prairie, Texas, and we're very pleased to present to you the Reverend Taylor. Reverend Taylor, welcome to the set.
How you doing, Ms. Jackson?
Wonderful.
Bless
We
you.
thank your braver than Dick Tracy to be here today alone when the other ministers, one was called out of town, one had a very serious happening in the family, and the other we think must be out on the Lord's business because he isn't with us yet, but we still have our fingers crossed, don't we?
Fingers crossed.
That's wonderful. All right, Reverend Taylor, Reverend C.L. Taylor,
Yes, ma'am.
of a wonderful, wonderful congregation up in the west part of Grand Prairie, Texas. And you have a beautiful new building, a wonderful congregation. Would you look out into your camera and let everyone know the name of your congregation?
The name of our church is the Morning Star Missionary Baptist Church, 2251 El Paso Street, in the great city of this metroplex, Grand Prairie, Texas.
That's wonderful. All right, now, before we get into all of the wonderful history of your church,
Yes,
we'd like for you to maybe tell us a little bit about Mr. C.L. Taylor. And what does the C.L. stand for? Are you allowed to tell that on public television?
I'd like to tell you what the C stands for.
All right, but you're not mentioning the L yet, huh?
No, the L is pretty secret.
All right.
My name is Reverend Christopher L. Taylor I. I have 3 children. I've been married for 13 years. My wife is named Merlin Taylor. My first child, which is a girl, is named Victoria Christine Taylor. My second child, which is another girl, her name is Morgan Lynn Taylor. And then my son, which is the best of all, I gave him my name, Christopher L. Taylor II. We have a very beautiful family. I thank God for all that He's done for me in these 13 years of marriage, beautiful children and church family and everything. It's
That's wonderful.
just wonderful.
All right. Do you reside in Grand Prairie, Texas?
Well, I live in Arlington.
We're going to have to proselyte you from Arlington as sure as the world, but that's all right. That's
Right.
acceptable. Yes.
I try to spread the gospel everywhere.
Yes,
Yeah.
Especially between your church in Grand Prairie and Arlington.
Right.
You know, it wouldn't hurt for you to clean up that strip somewhere in there
This
anyhow.
is
You got a
true.
big job, haven't you?
A big job. I have several members that live in Arlington too, so that makes it worthwhile.
Yes, it
Yes,
really does.
yes, it does.
We want you to tell us a little bit, before we get into the church too, about the real Christopher Taylor. Where
Well-
were you born? Tell us a little bit about the early life.
Well, I was born in Fort Worth, Texas,
All right.
to Roy Lee Taylor Sr. and my mother, Eloise Taylor. And I'm the 7th child. Yes, there was 8 of us, and I was the 7th one.
Okay.
And that 7 is a significant number for me
Yes.
because at 17, I started preaching at 17 years old. I just celebrated 17 years of preaching at the first Sunday in February. My first church, which I pastored in College Hill Baptist Church in Texarkana, Arkansas, I stayed there for 7 years.
All of these sevens
All
coming
these
to bear.
sevens,
Oh,
yes.
yes.
And it was 7 years before I got my first church.
Yes.
And I'm the 7th pastor of the Morning Star Missionary Baptist Church.
Oh, my, these
So-
sevens are coming in there.
So I guess it's the lucky 7, huh?
Yes, it is. That really is.
And my hobbies is playing basketball in my free time, but the greatest thing that I love to do is preach and proclaim the gospel and to help lead somebody to Christ or help change somebody from the error of their way. Yes. And I've always been a person who like to see people change and
yes.
and help people. That's my goal. That's what I've always loved to do.
Where were you born?
At Fort Worth, Texas.
In Fort Worth, Texas.
I think it was Peter Smith.
Peter Smith.
Right.
All right. Now, I'd like for you to name your brothers and sisters.
Okay.
Just develop your genealogy. We have your mother and father's name now, and tell us about your little family.
Okay. My oldest sister name is LaWanda Jean.
All right.
My oldest brother's name is Chuck.
All right.
And
come right down the line.
Come right down the line. After Chuck is Patricia. Patricia. She's my next oldest sister, and then my sister before me is Glenda, and then there was one before us that he passed away, and then me, and then I have two under me, Clevester and LaVester. They're not twins.
Yeah, but their names are exciting, aren't
right,
they?
right. It's different.
Right.
It's
Do
different.
they all live in the Fort Worth area?
Okay, now my oldest brother, he's a member of my church.
Good.
My oldest sister's a member of my church. And my other sister, my baby sister, she lives in Houston, Texas.
Yes.
And she's a member of the Joy Tabernacle Baptist Church, Joy Tabernacle Church there in Houston, Texas, where Dr. Michael P. Williams is the pastor. And they'll be coming down the second Sunday in March to celebrate my fourth appreciation anniversary services. So from Houston, Texas, they're coming down. And then my youngest brother, he lives in Houston also, where my mother resides. And my other brother, he lives in Bloomington, Illinois. That's where I started preaching. In
Illinois?
In Illinois, right.
North of the Mason-Dixon line.
That's right.
Boy, you got
3
a
hours
long
from
way
Chicago.
from home, didn't you?
Yes, I did. I really did.
Yes, you did. All right.
That's where I was raised in Illinois, Bloomington, Illinois.
In Illinois?
Right.
Okay. And did you go to school in the Illinois area?
I went to high school there.
All right. You want to name your high school so we'll get this on the record?
Bloomington High School.
All right.
Yeah, I held the record there in track. I had a 9,400. Wow. And it took 10 years to break it.
To break your record?
Yeah.
Oh,
I was a pretty good football player.
Yeah.
And
what did you play in football?
I played running back.
Running back? Oh,
yeah.
yes.
I was the baddest running back other than Walter Payton.
Yes, Oh, that is wonderful.
Yeah.
And then after you got out of high school, you decided not to play professional football because you already had your call?
Well, I tried.
All right.
I tried to go to college. I had a scholarship to go to college, to Dodge City Junior College in Kansas, Dodge City, Kansas. But when I got there, I saw that the guys were a little bit bigger than I was.
Yes.
And I didn't want to break no bones.
Yes.
I never had any broken bones, so I decided to not, I just couldn't cut the mustard. Got cut. That was the worst thing that could have happened to me.
Yes.
At that time, but it was the best thing.
Best thing in the long run,
In
wasn't
the
it?
long run, right.
I think young people hearing that will appreciate the fact that it was a hard pill to swallow at that time, but
Right.
you are so glad that it happened to you.
Yeah, well, you're all conference and all state, and then you go to a college where you have all those guys that are just as good as you are.
Yes.
And to get cut was a hard pill to swallow, but
Yes.
I made it.
But you not only survived it, but you've surpassed it to
Right.
one.
Oh yeah.
That's great. What brought you to Texas?
I came back home.
All right.
The Morning Star Missionary Baptist Church sought me to come and lead them to higher heights, and the Lord put on my heart to come here, and it was coming back home to where my family is.
All right, and how long ago did you come back to your church here?
Here.
4 years?
4 years, right. Mhm.
4 years ago,
Yeah.
you decided to come back. In that 4 years, you've turned the place around, or your congregation has turned the place around.
They have.
Because tell us about what you started out with and the progress that you've made and the excitement of building and all of the good stuff.
I wish I had a picture of the old church, but when we came to Morning Star, I believe we average about, on a good Sunday, about 50 to 60 members.
Yes.
When I came here from College Hill in Arkansas, and the Lord has blessed us to build over $1 million facilities
Yes.
now, and we're up to about 450 members per Sunday.
Yes.
Yeah, so we're doing. The Lord is blessing us. We've only been in this building for about 6-7 months.
Yes.
Since July, and we have a lot of programs going on right now. A lot of things that we want to do in the near future, but we have to go at God's command. You know, you can't rush His commands, and sometimes you can do the right thing at the wrong time and mess up things. You know, so we're just letting the Lord lead and guide us. We have a lot of people who have been there. The church is this year will be 44 years old in November. We'll celebrate our 41st anniversary the first Sunday in November this year. And there are those who have been there for some of those years, who are pillars of the church, who are still there now.
Would you like to name drop some of our pillars of the church?
Oh, I
there?
would.
Oh, I think that would be wonderful to have
Yes.
that on our historic record.
We have a couple of families that's been there, maybe not the full 43 years, but the families that have been there, they have supported this church, and I would say that they are basically the foundation, you know, of the church.
Yes.
And that is the Wrights and the Newts and the Joneses.
Yes.
However, God has blessed us with more members now to help support the cast that we have now, the ministry that we have now, because of the long standards of them being there. Mother Hattie Jones, who has been there for a long time, Janelle Martin, who's been there almost at the conception of the church, Mother Casey.
Yes.
I won't forget Mother Casey. She's about
Yes.
90-something years old.
Yes.
And she's been there. She saw the old church built, and she saw the new church being built. Elizabeth Brown, Mother Hayes, and the list goes on and on. Brother Thomas Kellum,
Yes.
whom you know,
Yes.
pillars of the church. And it's just remarkable how God has taken that church from where it is to where it is now. And it's by the grace of God, and it's by the steadfastness of these pillars of these families who have been there through the thick and the thin, you know, for better or for worse, to death do us part, you know. And I'm just glad that I'm a part of this historical event.
Another thing I'd like to ask, what are you doing for the youth in your church? Do you have many young people?
We average every Wednesday night we have what we call our ministries programs. We average about 70 to 75 youth on Wednesday night. On Sunday morning we have our children's church, and we average about 100 to 125 youth. On Sunday morning they have classes, and then at 12 o'clock we have preaching. And while they in children's church having preaching, we be in the sanctuary,
Yes.
you know, doing our thing. But we don't believe that the children of the church of tomorrow. We believe that the children of the church of today.
Yes.
Today, because tomorrow is not promised to you. And we believe in training our youth now, and for the future, because they're gonna have to carry this load when we're gone.
Yes.
Yes. But we have a lot of programs. Our youth director does a marvelous job.
Would you name your youth director? We need that on our record.
Okay, her name is Diana Long. She's our youth director, and her staff, and Sister Teresa Bryant is an assistant, and she has a cast of people who who work with her. Our children's church director is Sister Lucy Wilson, and her assistant is Brother Mark Blackshear. And they take over on Sunday, and Sister Long does the Wednesday nights, training and stuff. So we try to divide them up because we have youth, and then we have teenagers, and then we have those who think they're grown. So.
I'm interested in your comments on the teenage group that you have. How do you hold their interest? Because this is a time in their life when they have lots of temptations outside of the realms of religion.
Well, they have a lot of outings. They go bowling, they go to movies, they skating, have rap sessions. It's really difficult at this period of time to kind of hold the youth, but we do the best we can, and because you lose them when they get in high school sometimes, but the Lord has blessed us to keep a steady pace on our teenagers. Yeah.
How about the outreach into the community of Dalworth? We hear a lot of the negatives about Dalworth. You have one of the positive elements there through your church. Do y'all do any outreach into the community other than just your membership? Do you have any kind of programs?
As far as evangelism, yes, we go out on the streets on Saturday mornings to try to evangelize, because in the heart of Dalworth, where we are, there's a lot of drugs,
yes,
and prostitution, et cetera, and we trying to get into the NICA schemes now, but it's very difficult right now because of the newness of our church.
Yes,
it's kind of hard to go in there, because you want to bring them in, but at the same time you have to be careful.
Yes.
Because we are.
You're newcomers, aren't you?
Right. Yeah,
yes.
Yeah, we're newcomers, so
yes.
It's real difficult.
If you haven't been up there 25 or 30 years, or maybe 40.
Yeah, but
yes.
see, I don't know them. That's what I'm
yes.
saying. And it's a lot of newcomers in there, and they can probably handle somebody that's been out there.
Yes.
And got their life right and then go back out. But right now we don't have anybody that can really go into the community, because we don't know them.
Yes.
I leave that to Reverend Magruder, because he's been there for about 18, 20 years. So.
Yes. I was sad Reverend Magruder had a conflict today and a family problem,
right,
that
okay.
he couldn't be with us.
Right.
So.
Yeah. But
we would have balanced it off with a long timer and a newcomer, wouldn't we?
That would have worked.
Yes.
But we have some other things lined up in the near future, a drug program. But I think we need to take care of home first before we go out abroad.
Yes.
And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to internalize our church.
Well, you must have somewhat of an outreach, because I believe you're giving the invocation for the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce that's having their annual awards, I believe, this coming Thursday evening,
night, right.
Thursday night.
Right, at the Pavilion.
I think that's wonderful,
well,
that they would ask a young man like you to come and...
they must feel sorry for it.
No, I don't think it's that. I think that the Hispanic Chambers has a lot more foresight than that. So that is wonderful that you're being used in the community in a like way. And have you felt pretty welcome in the neighborhood of Dalworth, even though you live in Arlington? I know that a lot of your congregation is centered in Grand Prairie.
Well, I spend most of my time at the church, so
yes.
Yeah, I'm pretty much welcome.
You feel like you're from Grand Prairie, don't you?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. In fact, I love Grand Prairie. I love what I'm doing. I love Morning Star, and I trust that if the Lord say the same, I'll be there for the entirety of my life.
That was going to be my next question. What does Christopher finally want to do with his life after he has finished preaching?
Well, go on to glory.
You want to preach till you die?
I want to preach till I die.
Yes,
I want to,
wonderful.
as long as I can have my right frame of mind,
Yes.
and I can contribute to the community and to society. That's what I want to do. If I get to the place where I can't do that anymore, then just take me home.
What would you say to young people today if you left a message for them on this videotape? You'd look out into your camera, and how would you encourage the young people, and what would you tell them your greatest philosophy of life would be?
I would say to the young people to be steadfast, unmovable, always abounding in the work of God, for only what you do for Christ will last. It gets difficult sometimes. I know temptation is out there, but with God, all things are possible. Never say I can't. That should not be in the vocabulary of any Christian, that I can't, because the Bible says I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. So be strong in the Lord and depend upon Him, and He'll lead and guide you in every facet of your life. That's what I would say.
All right, now, you've talked to the young folks.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say to the parents that have charge of these young people? Some of them think they have charge that don't, but
Yeah.
do you have some sort of an exhortation to give to the parents, whether they go to your church or whether they're just in the community?
I would say be patient and pray.
That's not a long enough message.
Yeah, be patient, pray, be understanding, try to be open-minded to some of the things that children are going through these days. The things that we went through, it's much difficult now because of the teenage pregnancy, even the young dope dealers now.
Yes,
You know,
yes.
it's teenagers now. It's in the school. It's in the community. It's more prevalent now than it's ever been upon our earth. But I would say to the parents, just be patient and put them in the Lord's hands. That's all you can do.
Does
You
your
know.
wife work out of the home?
No, she doesn't work.
She takes care of those two little girls and that one young man?
Yeah, she matter of fact, she was working, but her last day was last Friday, so she's a home body now.
A homebody now,
Yeah.
but over in Arlington. We're gonna have to transition her over here
Yeah.
some way or the other, aren't we?
But she does a good job in maintaining a peaceful home and she supports me very much.
Yes.
Very much. She doesn't walk behind me, she walks beside me.
Oh, I see.
And that's
wonderful.
it's a difference. And I like that. I enjoy that.
And what kind of life would you like for your young son, young Christopher II? Do you have any kind of plans for him, or are you going to let him be on his own? What do you vision for Christopher II?
I envision for Chris to be successful in life. I believe he is, because he's a smart young man. He's just 6, but he's going on 60. I want him to be the best in whatever venture he goes into. I want him to be a respectable citizen. And that's the main thing, just be respectable, whatever he does. I don't know what the Lord has for him, but whatever that is, if it's following in my footsteps, I want him to be even greater than I have been. Yeah.
Do you have any regrets that you didn't maybe backtrack just a little bit on your athletic career? Have you worried about that just a little bit?
Just a little bit, just a little bit. I wish I could have been a little bit more prone, but I can live it through him maybe. Maybe he'll be a Emmitt Smith or
Yes.
Earl Campbell, somebody like that.
Yes, wouldn't that be wonderful?
Yeah. He tried to play football this year anyway. And he did a pretty decent job for his first year.
What do you have forecast for the church?
For the church, well, right now we want to, pay this church off for one thing.
All right.
And then in the near future, I want to build a family life center, and maybe.
Okay, let's get that down.
Yeah, definitely. Family life center. We want to try to. I guess I don't want to tell everything because somebody might be listening. But
That's all right.
We want to try to have a daycare want to start a daycare in the
Yes.
near future. And
Like
maybe
a Tuesday and Thursday school where the kids come in and you
well, no,
take
the
care
whole
of
week,
all day long?
all day long,
Oh, my.
Monday through Friday. Monday through Friday, yeah.
Daycare.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. Looking for a daycare, and then hopefully a senior citizen home. Those apartments around there where we can turn them out and turn them into a senior citizen home. That would help to get some of the drugs out, the community. Because when you got young people, that's where
Yes.
that's where the drugs are.
Those are pretty lofty goals, aren't they?
Yeah, it's a pretty lofty goal, but we got over one hurdle, and that was to build this
build
new
that
church.
beautiful building.
And I thank God for that, that we did that. And so I know that all things are possible now that we got this building up.
In your group of youth, do you have any that are aspiring to be a minister?
Yes.
All right.
Yes, I have. Since I've been there, I have three young ministers that have come to the call of the gospel. I have one that plays football for Stanford University.
Wow.
His name is Damian Dunn. He's a sophomore this year.
Yes.
And in fact, I have two young men that went to Stanford. One, Anthony Bookman, who played for South.
Yes.
And they play football for Stanford. And Damien is the preacher, and he's a good preacher.
Yes.
And a couple of weeks ago, I had Reverend Z.Z. Young. He gave his call to the ministry, and he did a marvelous job. And then Brother Joseph Nelson, he came from Texarkana, believe it or not.
Yes.
And he's moved up here, and he's been called to the ministry. So I have three young men that's doing a marvelous job in the ministry.
That's great.
Yeah.
And I know that there are a lot of young girls that are watching the three young men, so we're going to keep perpetuating this church forever and ever.
Oh,
aren't
yeah.
we?
Oh, definitely.
Well, in the 1 minute that we have left, I would like to thank you so very much
Thank
for
you.
all of the things that you're doing for Dalworth,
Thank
for
you.
your church, and for being a young man of vision.
Well, thank you so much.
We did not hold up your church building,
Oh,
did
okay.
we? Let's hold that up and see if the camera can clue in on that. That's the new sanctuary, and that is on what address? Give us the address.
2251 El Paso Street, Grand Prairie, Texas, 75051. Our morning services start at 9 o'clock, orientation and 9 steps and Sunday school. Morning worship begins at 10:30.
The magic telephone number at your
The
church
magic
building.
telephone number is 647-1445. That's the church. My office number is 623-1375.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It is exciting.
I've
Thank you
enjoyed
for
it.
being with us.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having us.
And this is Ruthie Jackson reminding you that history is as we live and do.